podcast people. I'm Murphy Daly, AV veteran and writer for AV Pubs and others, for Rave Pubs and others, and you are watching the AV Life podcast.
Greetings from Kansas City. You are watching and listening to the AV Life.
Hi, this is Nancy Blanchard, and you are watching and listening to the AV Life.
Hi, this is James King, the writer in IT and AV column for the Higher Ed Digital Magazine, and you are watching and listening to the AV Life.
And I'm your host, Tim Van Wert from Rutgers University, and you are watching and listening to the AV Life. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Yes, we are here. We are back. We've got some great guests. We got the crew here. This is a great day, and it's nice and warm in my basement. If you really need to know that, but I got my space heater going. I'm trying to forget that there's 24 inches of snow outside of my door, and so. How's the crew doing tonight? How are we all doing?
Great.
Very good.
Thursday.
Now I got my new microphone.
Oh, yes. Oh, and you muted yourself properly that quick, James.
Yeah, I'm getting used to the unmute with the space bar.
Okay. All right. And Renee, are you ready? I know it's gonna be past by the time we come out, but you ready for this weekend?
Very ready. I'm very ready. Drinking.
Okay.
Everything I'm drinking is coming out of a Kansas City cup. Everything I'm wearing is Kansas City. We are so pumped. So we're going to go down there and take care of Brady.
Yes, please do, as
Yeah.
I've stated before. So for any of you Bucks fans out there, I'm sorry, but I'm not rooting for Brady. So I have not for, I don't know, 20 years. I won't do it now. So Murphy, you doing good? How are things by you?
Doing great.
Good.
It is. I have had the series of the most amazing sunsets. It's
Yeah, we
gorgeous.
saw. If you're not friends
Yeah.
with Murphy on Instagram, she does post some very pretty pictures.
Thank you. Yeah, so we've had a lot of gorgeous sunsets, and life is charging forward. We made it past Groundhog Day. We did. We're past it now.
This is true. We didn't loop back
Mhm.
back around,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put it past 2021. So because
Honestly,
we didn't,
yeah.
because it didn't happen in 2020. All the insanity happened after
Mhm.
Groundhog Day. So actually, maybe that was the problem. Now that I think about it, maybe Groundhog Day last year was the problem, and that's what started the chaos of 2020.
Oh no.
It was a groundhog bug.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Ooh.
Let's see. Let's see what happens.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
And Nancy, I know you chimed in a little bit. You're doing good.
Doing great. Yeah. Just like Murphy said, we're having spring weather right now. So I think we're bypassing our rainy winter season. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So that helps. Being stuck in the house, it helps a lot.
Awesome. All right. Well, yeah, that's true. Being home is not awesome, but for good reason. It is.
But see, I also like, though, I see all of your pictures and I see Chris Netto, swearing about the snow and having to go out there and then getting bombarded by the snow plows and things. And it brings back memories because I grew up in that back in Canada. So, but you know what? If I want snow, I can drive 4 hours to Tahoe and be able to frolic in the snow.
All right. Well, so if you ever want the snow again, you could also come over to the East Coast. We we got it over here for you too.
I'd love to. Just gotta be able to jump on a plane.
Well, yeah, hopefully that's soon. So, and we'll talk about going places in a little bit. Let me introduce our guests for tonight. I'm gonna actually start with the gentleman that's on the top row with me here, Aaron Peterson. How are you tonight, Aaron?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, sir.
Yeah, my name is Aaron Peterson. I am a solutions engineer for Mechdyne. We are an integrator based in the Midwest, but we do work actually all over the world. We do a lot of visualization systems, like the one in my virtual background back here. A lot of 3D systems, and that's kind of our bread and butter. And then we've worked into more general AV installs over the last few years. So yeah, it's been fun.
All right, cool. Well, welcome, and we're glad to have you here tonight. And then David Pequeño, did I got it?
Yep,
Close.
you got it right.
All
Perfect.
right, good. Whew. I was gonna say there was a stall there. I'm like, oh no. How are you
No,
tonight, sir?
Yeah, so I'm doing good. I'm living the dream, just like all of us here, right? So it's 2021. It's not 2020, so that gives me some positivity going into the day. You know.
Good, good. And tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, sir.
Yeah. So currently I'm a regional sales manager for the Midwest at a company called Hypervision, a newer company. I'd say kind of like a glorified startup. They are doing 3D visual solutions. It's an interesting technology, interesting concept, and really excited to be working there. Before that, I was at NEC, or now Sharp NEC, for 5 years as a account manager as well, and that's how I know Renee, and actually how I know Aaron as well too.
Very cool. Well, it's always nice to bring
A
our
rock
friends.
star as well, by the way, just saying.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, yeah, and we're we bring our friends along as we do. We've done on many occasions, so we're glad to have you, sir. Just out of curiosity, because I see you're wearing a looks like a hockey sweater of some sort. Who are you representing?
Yes, always have to represent the college alma mater, so Illinois
Alright.
State University.
Okay, very nice. Okay, I
But-
was trying to figure it out. I was like, I saw the cardinal up there, and I was like, but it looks like a hockey jersey. Like, I don't know.
Yep, but I'm also wearing red to also represent the Chiefs today. So go Chiefs.
Okay, very good. All right, cool.
Not that I'm biased at all, but the name of our team when we worked together at NEC was Team Chiefs.
Okay, well, there you go.
Just can't get away.
Team
from
Chiefs continues.
it. Yep,
Carries on
it does.
forever.
All right, and last but certainly not least, we have Miss Lex Peters. How are you, Lex?
So good. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we are-
It's a good Thursday.
Yeah, well, we are very happy to have you here as well. So thank you for joining us. And I know you've been on before, but let's I'll tell them maybe if there's somebody new listening in tonight who you are and what you do.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I work at USC under IT, under the Learning Environments Department, and I'm in charge of all branding externally and internally. Yeah, so that's what I do. It's
Cool.
a good time.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you. And then also
Don't
we're gonna
forget
get
about It's Joe's show.
Oh yes,
Oh,
one
yes.
half of Joe's show. Yes.
Yes, I'm also one half of Joe's Joe, which has died a little bit lately because we had to respect the moment. But I have a feeling we're coming back. It's
Yeah, I
happening.
think I had a Joe's Joe sighting on Twitter the other day.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there is a comeback happening. So
Yeah, we're just coming back slowly.
yes, they are also
Yeah.
the HETMA award-winning Twitter account. So so
True.
yes, there is
True.
that too. So
Not wrong.
yes, and as you folks are listening, if you have not done so already, please register for the HETMA conference that is February 9th through the 11th. So
Woohoo.
so yes, at hetma.org, you can register there. More information there as well. And yeah, so and also Lex is going to be our AV rock star for this week. So and she is our first to promote to arrive here at the AV Life. So we congratulate you for that, Lex.
We
We'll
do like to host rock stars.
yes, we do. We
So
we do. Yes. Only the best here. Spare no expense. So
And don't forget your friends when you're big and famous. Don't forget.
exactly.
Never. Plus, you have
Um,
recorded proof, so you
Yes,
can prove
exactly.
we're all friends.
Yeah, we got video and audio proof that you were here with us.
Mhm.
And we'll get to that in just a second. We are going to head right into our weekly segment of the PM Minute with Murphy.
Yeah.
How we doing? What do you got for us this week, Murphy?
So I knew a guy in college and he had a car. And that car was a great little car. And at some point after he had actually graduated from college and graduate school, he asked my boyfriend, who's now my husband, but asked him, "Are you supposed to do something to change the oil?" Yeah. It was a really good car.
How long did he have that car?
It was a really good car. And so he had not actually changed the oil that entire time. So this is to say with your projects, they might run, but you need to maintain the machine that keeps the projects running. Last time we talked about building a little house for your projects, building systems and stuff. So I'm kind of switching the metaphor. It's a machine now, not just a house. It's a machine, but a house also needs maintenance.
Mhm.
But don't neglect the stuff that keeps the project working. And what I mean by that are communications and places where you store the information everybody has to use, processes, etc. Don't forget to keep the machine working, because that's the projects themselves. They can be like wild and free range, and that sometimes they get done and sometimes they get totally neglected. But if you want to create the structure, don't forget to keep the structure working.
All right. So also as a project manager, would the people power also be something you need them to manage? Like, I mean, not just like as far as maintaining and keeping, because staff as well get worn out, but yet they keep moving, but you need to manage those.
Yeah, that's part of it. Like, you need to swap out the parts. Don't have only one guy do all the work. Make sure that you balance it, and that's part of keeping the whole machine working. Like, okay, at what point is because it will break if you don't, right? So if you have one guy and he's doing all the work, eventually that guy's gonna be like, I'm just gonna go. Come on, you guys don't appreciate me. So and doing the check-ins and making sure that you load balance and do the check-ins and make sure that the whole machine works, not just project by project. Like, I need this thing done, and when it's done, you're like, yay, and you don't think about like how the whole structure worked together, how's communications going, things like that. And I said that twice, but it's important. And how tracking and the documents and having your processes like, do we really need to have this meeting? If we don't, get rid of it, but if we do, make it work.
Can this meeting be an email?
That too.
Yeah.
To piggyback on that, I actually wanted to say that preventive maintenance, not just for the project itself, but like it should go into sustaining the life of the system. Hopefully you guys that are on AV teams for your universities and things are going out and doing regular preventative maintenance on your systems, whether it's swapping out air filters or just even making sure that all the buttons on the touch panel still do what they are supposed to do. Preventive maintenance is a big thing that we at least push, and it actually helps keep the life of your system a lot longer and increases your total cost of ownership for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
We talked about that the last episode, I believe, or maybe it was on the Vixa Tech Manager, but we brought that up where we talked about doing preventive maintenance. And like, for example, we have our student workers go out and hit every room every day, and we like to find the problems before the faculty do. So yeah, I agree with Aaron.
Yeah, we run regular testing and cleaning on our systems. So that's what the student techs do. They go out. We have a schedule based on when the classrooms are available, which now is easier than it usually is. Yeah, they go in, they clean the system, they wipe it down, they do it external, they do a full test, make sure audio works, touch panels work, they do everything that they're supposed to do, projectors turn on. We keep tabs on hours, fan quality. So yeah, that's all done. And let me tell you, it's tedious work, which is why the students tend to use it, do it. But it's work that prolongs the system. So yeah, and
send them with some canned air too to clean out a lot of those fan filters, like of pieces of equipment in the rack. A lot of times those are forgotten pieces of equipment. Yes, you might be cleaning like the desk that the professor uses, but like the internal guts of the things need to be kind of blown out too.
Oh yeah, then usually that requires a staff member to actually do that, because you got to get up on a ladder and do that, and we don't let the students do that. So
we hang students off of rafters, right? Come on, can't we do that?
Yeah,
well, while we're there with them, at least, so we don't let them
really.
Joe sent me up in the roof. We were like in. I swear there's asbestos everywhere. We were in the walls, and he was back at the office. So,
Just like Joe,
But
just to leave the party, you know.
Yeah, he's
Delegate.
it's too hot here.
but really, I think because back when I was a student worker, the preventive maintenance, or the OPSEC as we call them, is I felt really made the student worker take ownership of the room and actually, become understand the equipment without the pressure of, walking in, having 100 eyes on them from the students and the faculty member, and, you got to make this work right now. It was less pressure. They can go in, make sure it'll work. If there was a problem, you could teach them. They took ownership of it, and it made them better troubleshooters, I felt. I don't know
Mhm.
about what you guys think.
Yeah, I think that, and having them also involved in our build team has helped as well, because then they get to see the systems is built from the ground up, so they know what they're looking for when they're if they're supposed to be in there. We have different levels of technician for that, and some of them aren't allowed to actually go in and touch things like that. So all right, well, thank you, Murphy. That was a great little one. That's and yes, let's preventive maintenance on your team and your projects, along with your actual system. So yes, make sure you take care of your stuff. That's what your parents
And,
always warned you about too.
and your cars.
And your cars,
Get your
get the oil changed. And this is a reminder to somebody somewhere out there, your car needs an oil change. Call
Right.
your local service guy, because he's probably looking for work, so let him give it to him. So
And see your dentist every 6 months and your animal.
oh yeah, I do need that one.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Oh.
Renee.
It's all in the same umbrella.
So all right, cool. All right, well, we're gonna thank you, Murphy. We're gonna go right into the AV Rockstar, and as I said, that is Lex Peters. And so Lex, so we all, those of us that are on the podcast, and there's a small solar system of people that revolve around what you do and who know who you are and what you do, but we've all been so impressed with what you've been doing that we wanted to shine the spotlight on to you, and that's why this AV Rockstar exists. So what we're going to give you is an opportunity to talk about yourself and to talk about the things you've been working on at USC. I mean, I know you have a little side thing going on too. If you want to promote that, you are more than welcome to
Yeah.
talk about that. You could talk about It's Joe's Joe for those who don't follow and are missing out on that. And so the spotlight is yours. Take it away, Lex.
Oh gosh. Hi. So I am Lex. As I said earlier, I work at USC. I'm on the user experience team, but I primarily deal with everything having to do with PR, marketing, and communications. Specifically, more recently is just my passion for branding, internally and externally, and kind of letting people know how important that is. Like if you think about it, like in Google, for example, Google has its look that's continuous across all platforms, and you know what to see, or even Apple. That's a good one too. And then also their branding is not only external to customers, but it's also internal. The employee experience, how the employees interact with other people, different things like that. So basically the idea of branding and what I'm trying to communicate to people is finding a common theme and goal and really putting it throughout your entire organization, whether it goes externally or internally, and really identifying with it. And then that gives people something to identify with too, and a common goal to work towards, and it builds culture. So anyway, so I'm working on things like that within our department, specifically making it a fun culture for our student workers, because I believe that the happier the employees are, the happier the customers will be, because they will get that much better of an experience. So helping with the student workers, and also, technology is difficult, especially classroom technology. These teachers are coming in, they already prepped their coursework. These students are coming in, they're paying a lot to go to these universities. They want a good classroom experience. They do not want their technology not to be working. So if they're calling us, or if there's they're upset about something, or or if there's a new system and they don't quite know how to use it, what does our experience towards them, and what experience do they have from us? What does it say about our department? So working on that, and from everything from how we communicate that to them, to the video instructional videos we make for them, the quality of that, knowing that we put in effort so that they understood what you know, what kind of technology they have, to little things like one-sheeters that's left in the classroom explaining step by step exactly how to do everything with, you know, with our number and with an identifiable design that specifically comes from our department, so that they can begin to recognize and see that we're there to help and what we look like and what we represent. So that's what I do at USC. It's a lot easier said than done, because it has to be from everyone from an engineer all the way to a student worker. Everyone needs to be a part of that culture and part of the commitment to expressing that culture to everyone that we come into contact with. So working specifically on that. I'm also part of It's Joe's Joe, which I'll never be able to escape, but honestly, I'm not mad at it. That is a Twitter account where we make fun of Joe Way. It's a good time, and it's also, Joe Way is our boss, so it helps us really, you know, get out some aggression. No, it's all in jest, but it's a really fun account. And then also on the side, I started like consulting a little bit and realizing a lot of small businesses specifically kind of get a little bit lost when it comes to the branding, and they want to do what their business is in charge of doing, whether that be a fitness coach or, you know, I don't know what it is, but like they want to do their business. They don't want to focus that much on branding. So I also do on the side, I also do some consulting and some brand strategy, helping people come up with, you know, how to interact with customers, how what their image looks like to the world. Because in this day and age, when everything's on, especially during COVID, when everyone's interaction with you is on the internet and is very visual, how are you coming across to your customers? How are you coming across to your peers? Are you establishing, you know, the image that you want to establish with your customer base? And so I also on the side, I have Knoll Creatives, where I do a lot of consulting and also a lot of just doing it for them because they don't want to do it, which is fine by me because it's something I love doing and comes pretty naturally to me. It just seems to make sense in my head, one of the only things. So I'm running with it. And also, but because of this, I also work for AV Higher Ed magazine.
Higher Ed AV.
I was like, that's wrong. That's wrong.
You were close. You were close.
I was like,
That's
what?
higheredav.com. There you go.
Yes. So higheredav.com. Love the website. First of all, we help design it and really create pages for people, and experience a one of a kind of experience that isn't in our industry, and really just allows people to talk on what their expertise is. And then I just started a column there under my Knoll Creatives business name. Basically, I'm super excited this. I'm going to be covering branding 101 and just doing bi-weekly videos on just like little snippets on things you can be doing to improve your brand and culture, both internally and externally. And so I'm going to do little bits and pieces there. So those will have some good nuggets. And I'm totally excited to have like some guests on, because it's a kind of video format. To have guests on, and then whoever wants to ask questions or has suggestions for topics regarding anything having to do with PR, marketing, or communications. So that's kind of my newest project. I think that you know, whatever information I have, I'm totally willing to share with everyone. And I think when it comes to technology, being able to communicate it is super hard sometimes. So I'm here to help. So yeah, that's my spiel. It's kind of long-winded, but
no, that was perfect. Absolutely perfect, Lex.
Yes,
And
that was really good.
And-
But I want to just say too, Lex, you've been in our sphere a little bit. I'm not like your next door neighbor or whatever. I mean, you know, I'm a couple miles away, but you've done a lot. You didn't have to start a business. Clearly, you had a paid gig, you had stuff going on, but you're like, I love this enough. I want to go more. And that's part of what makes you as a rock star. You're like, I'm going to do this. And not only that, I saw you do this. You set goals, you posted them, and you're like, okay, I don't know if I can do this. And then you like, I did it. Congratulations. That's what it means to be a rock star.
Thank you so much.
Didn't you have post-its like on a mirror, a whiteboard or something, that as you
Yeah.
did them, you took them off and checked them off?
You
Good for you.
scrummed yourself. You scrummed yourself.
Yep. Yeah, that's how I do my goals. I have my big goals, and then I set them into smaller goals, and then I put them all on my mirror so I see them every day see what I'm working towards, and then I get to, it's so satisfying getting to take it off and be like, ha, I did it. And then move on to the next one. So yeah,
And
my
cool.
system.
if anyone's actually listened to what Lexi just said, that is a definition of AV rock star. Like
Yep.
she just laid it out there right there. And that's what this whole section is about.
So I have a very important question for you. Like, when do you sleep?
Oh, I don't know. Actually, I'm a person who, if I don't get 8 hours of sleep, I'm bad news. So I definitely prioritize sleep.
Wow.
I go to bed early though, but yeah.
She
You just
takes it
make it
out on her
happen.
coworkers.
Well, also you have to consider I'm a young single. I don't have kids. I don't have anyone to worry about. I come home and what do? Work
Mm.
some more, do what I love, So I'm also very blessed to be in that point of life where I get to have a lot of freedom to do that, to
Yeah.
just spend my time the way I want. So
Amazing, Lex. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Yes, exactly. And that's as James put, that's exactly why you are the AV rock star. So congratulations. Welcome
you.
to the show, as I said before. And so yeah, and as we've always said, if you know somebody that's an AV rock star that that you'd like to see highlighted and spotlighted here on the AV Life, drop us a DM on Twitter, either at the AV Life Pod or at mine at T Van Wert. You could also find us through higheredav.com. So if you can find us that way, and let us know who it is. Let's shine the spotlight on those that are doing some great things, and let's bring them up front to everybody else. Because that's what this is. We are an AV family. Let's make sure everyone's noticed. So it's February. We're now February. And what's in February? Valentine's Day is in February. So we brought in a couple of guests. We left it open for some people to join in, and we got a couple of people to join up on us here. And so we want to talk about the things we love about AV. Because if there's been things that have gotten us through the last year, it's been our love for what we do. Because if we didn't love what we do, we probably wouldn't have made it through the last year or so. So I'm going to leave it open to the floor here. Anybody want to lead us off with what they love about AV? Oh, okay, go ahead, Lex. Why not? Go ahead.
Well, it doesn't have to be like AV technology in specific.
No, it could be,
Just
yeah,
like
whatever.
the AV world.
But the AV world, yeah, we're being very general
Okay,
about
broad.
this. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
This is so cheesy, but I literally never expected the community. I never ever in a million years thought the AV community is gonna be really cool. Like that's not something I thought, but it's amazing. No matter what area of the AV people are in, whether it's higher education or anything like that, it's been fantastic. The people in it are just A+ people. So that's kind of what I love about AV.
Hey, and Lex, just to let you know, so I was in the AV industry late 90s, and I decided to put my career on hold to start raising my boys. I was out for 14 and a half years.
Mhm.
But I had kept in touch with some people over email with jokes and things and this and that, and just keeping in touch. And when I decided to get back in, I mean, it was like within a month, everybody looked out for me and just said, okay, we're gonna, open our ears, find out what's going on for you. And I got a job, and it was at Infocom 2016. And my manager said, well, I've heard about you and that you know people. Well, at the Harman booth, it was like a friggin' camp reunion, family reunion of everybody coming up. And he said, I know that you know people. I didn't know that you know people. And it's just how it is that everybody welcomes you with open arms, and we look after one another. And that's how I've always viewed it, is that it's one big happy family.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you go, what logo you have on your shirt, any of that, everybody always watches out for one another. And I've seen that with COVID, people that have been furloughed, who have lost their jobs, and all of a sudden now we got a group with positions, and I'm seeing more and more. And it's a fun industry. It really is.
Well, and I was thinking about what story I would tell or what I would bring tonight. And I thought, as recently as this, I'm like thinking, I'm old and there's lots of old stories that I could tell, but I'm thinking, what has touched me the most about this industry? I even asked a customer today, I was like, oh, I got to think of a story. And he's like, Renee, you love this industry because you love your people. It's about the people. And I said, that's funny because we coined an AV hashtag AV family.
Hmm.
But in the same, just to piggyback off what you're saying, when I lost my job at NEC, I mean, I put one notification out there. Next thing you know, it blew up. I was getting DMs on LinkedIn, DMs on Twitter. People were calling, and I was like, I mean, I know I got a lot of friends, but what the heck? People are, some of these people weren't even hiring, but they were calling. But, well, let me talk to you and let me see what's going on. I might know somebody. And people were networking to a point where I was like, I don't have enough hours in the day to even look for a job. I didn't put my resume out anywhere. I had to hurry up and fix it up because they were coming in so quickly. And I mean, at one point I broke down to my husband. I was like, I don't know what's happening to me. And he's like, well, you give to your customers and your colleagues and it's time for you to get it back. And, it worked out so great for me. And I'm at a company that I don't know that I'm worthy to be there, but these freaking people are amazing. And so it's kind of like, they say one door closes, another window opens and you jump out it or whatever. But, it's that to me, seeing and other folks in the industry too that have gone through the same thing. I mean, I'm not the only one. And just to see, the site that is it AV Job Search? Or I don't know. Mark Cox.
I know. I was trying to think. I think Gabe, right? Gabe
and
is-
Mark put that one together.
Mm.
He immediately said, I'll put you on as a feature. We'll get you on tomorrow. And it's like, next thing you know, all these calls. And it was like, wow.
But
Okay.
Renee, don't you see that at trade shows? How, like I said, it's all the camaraderie. We're all hugging one another, and
Yeah.
it's just so excited to see and to catch up, and
Well,
it's globally, it's all around the world.
Yes.
It's such a small
Yeah.
industry
really
that so
is.
many people know each other.
Mhm.
So I've actually been in the AV industry. Really, I grew up in running sound at my church. The story is I remember my brother was running sound and I was in the 3rd or 4th grade and watching him mute and unmute the reverb in between songs so that their mics didn't have reverb on it when they talked. And I sat with him and I started learning about gain structure and everything from then. I remember when we built a brand new sanctuary and put in a big 56 channel Yamaha mixer. And fast forward to about a year ago, I'm talking to my Yamaha rep and I kind of told him the story and he's like, well, what church is it? And I told him and he's like, I'm pretty sure I sold him that board. It's just funny how it's such a small world sometimes.
Mhm.
Crazy.
Do you actually,
Okay,
if you read,
just a minute. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a small world and you guys are all talking about a particular world. Tim, you work inside of an environment. James, you work inside of a customer environment.
Mhm.
Lex, you too. Now, most of my AV career, I was inside of a customer environment and I didn't know that Avixa or Infocom was a thing. I had no idea for decades, for about a decade. I didn't know that was going on because I thought it was IT because I was in the IT department doing video conferencing.
Sure.
So I'm just saying that's part of it. And
Yeah.
but if anybody in higher ed AV is listening to this podcast, they might be going, what? That's not my experience. It might not be. I invite you all if you haven't been doing it, but also I just want to pause for a minute and say, I love the technology. The technology did it for me even without the community that I wasn't part of yet. I was the ugly duckling going like, but this is my thing. And they're like, but this is what IT is. I'm like, I'm kind of IT. So
Well, I agree with you on that, Murphy, as well. I do love the technology because that's what, got me into this in the first place, is that like the first university I worked for, I also didn't know about Avixa. I didn't know about we have NJ Edge that's here in New Jersey, but they're also, it's AV and IT, but mostly IT. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, and I was in AV. So it was like, yeah, well, it's okay. It kind of, does what I needed to do. It wasn't until I got to Rutgers, and then, then I was like, oh, there's a VIXA, you get your CTS, you do this, and there's all these people. And then I got on the podcast, and then that was then. And that rest is history now. Thanks, Corey. It's
So
yeah, I
like
blame
I was
Corey.
saying, if you look at most of the articles that were posted on the Higher Ed AV Digital Magazine for this month, I think every single one of them mentioned something about the community. I know Stevens did, mine did, as Joe's did. Like, they're almost every single one mentioned their love for the community. I mean, people. I have not been in AV that long. I've been at Stockton for 12 years, but half of that was solely on IT. And then I got thrown into AV. Didn't even know about AV. I didn't know about Avixa. I heard about it and started following along, but didn't do much with it. And then I started to get a little more involved. And I got onto Twitter following Chris and AV and AM. And then Joe brought me onto his show. And it blew up from there. I've really only been active in the AV community for about a year now.
You
kinda
did
the
it
same
like-
with me.
you did it like warp
Yeah.
speed, James.
Yeah,
James
I was
got
gonna say,
it.
you're like you are on a Joe Way trajectory, because like I feel like that's the same thing it was with Joe, is that all of a sudden, like, he went from, like, he just like shot up and out. He's everywhere. Like, at least that was the way I felt about him like a year or so ago, maybe a year and a half. It was, I knew him right before CCUMC, but then it was like everywhere I looked, it was Joe Way, Joe Way, Joe Way, Joe Way. I was like, wow.
To tell you the
Yeah.
truth, I didn't even know about CCUMC until one of the maybe happy hour, or I saw Joe or you or one of you guys talking about. I never even knew about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm still not a member of it because I don't think I can. Right now, they're even looking at other memberships. They're questioning them at because budget wise. So who knows what's going to go on there? But that's really what it is the communities, it grows quickly, but the tech is there. I mean, I went into IT because of tech, and I got into AV easy, I feel, because of my background in tech. I still use this story. I was in a programming class for the AMX stuff, and see you, Lex.
Bye.
I was in the level 1 programming course for the AMX, asking the instructor basically questions that were level 2 questions. And I still remember to this day that he brought up when the level 2 training was like 2 or 3 months after we got finished with the first one. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I can get there because that's right about the time we get busy. Yes, Tim, I do. And then we get busy. We're at school because it was right around August time, and there was someone else in the class who goes, "Oh, our managers won't allow us to do training that quickly," and the trainer goes, "Well, we don't recommend that so quickly." He's like, "We recommend you have a year of programming on your belt before you go to level 2." And he's already asking level 2 questions. Like, I was programming equipment before even gone to any official training. And actually I have room that's running on my code before I went to any programming class for AMX that's still running to this day and works well. But that, because I came from IT and programming, I knew the programming language and I knew IT. It was easy for me.
I
Right.
hadn't really
Yes.
gotten involved until about a year and a half ago either, because there's a number of changes at Mechdyne. A lot of the people that we would send to Infocom and ISE and a few of these other trade shows, for one reason or another, has left the company. And so we kind of had a hole to fill. These people had been with the company for almost, some of them, 20 years. And so we didn't really have those faces of the company as much. And so I wanted to kind of help out. And so I started to get involved, and realized what a great community we have. And I've been definitely welcomed with open arms. It's been great.
Yeah. What about you, David? What's your thing you love about AV?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with all that too. My experience has been all on the manufacturer side, but I've really enjoyed. I'm a huge fan of technology, and just for me, what I really like is going to trade shows and meeting other vendors and other types of products and learning about that. Like, yeah, at NEC, I was able to go to a lot of different trade shows, and I covered a lot of different territories. And going to those shows, I would meet people from like Crestron and people from like AMX and people from like Sony and Samsung, and meeting those people, it's like you're very different, but you're also the same in the way.
Mhm.
And what I really love about this industry is that I get to talk to people who are as excited about technology as I am. So it's kind of like I get to nerd out 24/7, and
Mhm.
definitely, there are some people that know way more than I do. And definitely there are some people that, I know a little bit more than they do now, being 5 years into it. But I feel like I'm learning something new every day. And that's really exciting to me, being able to not only meet new people, but just see things differently, get new ideas. And, what I like about this industry is that because the equipment we touch kind of touches so many industries, you're kind of with the changes in technology. So, whether it's software, whether it's IT, whether it's displays, projectors, it's cool to see like how everything is kind of evolving and, moving towards it. And I get really excited about that kind of stuff.
David, are
I-
you on Twitter? You're not on
Uh,
Twitter, are you?
I'm not.
Okay.
I used to have a personal account that I used very religiously.
Mhm.
But now, I don't really use Twitter that much. I go on and check like what's trending or big updates, but I don't use a personal Twitter account anymore.
So, um, I okay, I'll tell you a funny story. So I hadn't really used Twitter, and then I came on with Williams AV 2019, and I started getting a little bit into it. And it was at ISC last year that my marketing girl Paige, she's 25, and my product manager is 35, and I was telling her I was trying to learn of what I know now hashtags, but I was calling it pound signs. And they were laughing at me, and they're going, "Are you kidding me?" I go, "Listen, when you phone in and they're asking you for different options, they'll say hit the pound sign." I said, "So how is a hashtag? How's it a hashtag when we refer to it as a pound sign?" So they had fun with me. But I had met people over it. And so when I got to ISE, I actually got to connect with those people and develop wonderful relationships. And on Sunday mornings, there's AV in the AM, and it's where Chris Netto posts 5 questions. And the whole community, it's my whole day. My whole Sunday's done because you're reading the questions, you're reading what people are saying, and it has different themes. So I encourage you that you should get on to Twitter, be a little bit more active, because you'll meet so many people.
Well,
I
and if you're not-
usually answer them right before I start my drive to go to church, and then let everybody else answer them, and then I kind of come back to it in the afternoon.
Yeah,
Aaron,
I'm-
I'm waking up at 5 in the morning, California time, because I get too overwhelmed if I look at them when they've started at 8 a.m. Eastern. So
Yeah,
I'm now waking up and reading them. So it's like I can see, okay, what are the questions in that? And it sort of helps, and for later.
my
Yeah,
phone's
I
going
just
crazy. My husband's like, "Renee, your AV in the AM is going off. Silent."
I usually wait for someone to tag me in something, and then I usually chime in. I'll be honest, I am a slug when it comes to Sunday mornings, so I'm usually
I try
not
to
quick.
answer all the questions, and then answer other people like the stuff. I'm like, yeah, what he said. So
Yeah.
I
agree,
try
yeah.
to. Yeah, I try to answer, and I do a pretty good job. But then there's also times I'm getting yelled at by my wife. Put the phone down and do things around the house. So
you
it depends
you
if
can log into Twitter on your computer.
Yes,
Yes, you can.
but then I get stuff thrown at me if I'm on the computer. But yeah, because even like it's funny is like I was we had, as most people know, New Jersey got hit with some snow. Tim is probably still buried under there, and my area
Started to
had
melt a little.
nothing.
It
But
started to melt a little bit today because we got to like
Ah.
36 degrees, but you know,
Mm.
it's still
Yeah.
a lot out there.
No go.
yeah, my area got like nothing, but we still had Monday and Tuesday were work from home. And I mean, I'm a multitasker, so I'll have email up. Like in my office, I have 4 monitors, email up, our ticket system, this going, that going, coding, everything. And so that's what I was doing. I had email up, ticket system up, work on code, and I had Twitter up. Now I'll be looking at Twitter for a moment, and my wife will look at my laptop and goes, "That's not work. Get back to work." I'm like, "I'm
I
working."
swear I just looked at it.
Yep. So
It was just for a
it
second,
keeps
really.
me-
That's all it was.
yeah, but yeah, it really does go off, and I tried to say on it. There are topics that I know nothing about, and then there's topics that I know a
Yeah.
good amount, especially when we have a HEPMA take over. That was
Mhm.
always fun.
Which I believe that's actually might be coming up again. So
Yes,
little
I've heard
insider
it's
info.
coming
I
up
don't want
again.
Yeah.
I don't want to prep it. I don't want to break anything that may not necessarily happen right away. So, but I believe it's on the
Yeah.
way. So
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
because-
know the date, but Chris did drop that. I think there's going to be a HEPMA takeover. I think there's a couple others in the work. I'm not quite sure, but I did see a couple of that.
Yeah.
One thing
and
about
that's-
this industry that's I really love, and you, James, you hit it right on the head, is you're not an expert in everything. I don't think anybody in this industry is an expert in everything. There are things that you are probably an expert in that other people need to get information out of you. But then I believe that in general, we're a very open-minded community that we want to learn from other people's expertise.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's
Yes,
definitely
that's-
actually James's higher ed AVIT Slack channel, HETMA award-winning Slack channel. Speaking of HETMA, we were actually having a discussion about USB wireless microphones today, which now I'm like, I want to get some of those. And I want to play around with some of those things. So I'm, it's not the first time that that's happened. Like people will come up with questions, and then all of a sudden it's just like, there's listings of things. It's like, here, try this, try this, try this. Don't use this. That's
Yeah.
I will say, if there's something that somebody should not use, we are very vocal about that. So
Yes.
I will
That
say,
doesn't happen.
And
But,
we're
yeah.
very vocal about one company too.
was that?
Just we're very vocal about one company. Just talk to BC.
Oh yeah, talk to BC. Yes, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna put that out there right now.
Nope.
So,
Definitely
but
not.
those, if you know, you know. So,
Yep. And that's really, I mean, not to go off topic here, but that's what I wanted from that Slack group, is a location where us higher ed folks can do that. And without, I mean, nothing against Aaron or Dave and Murphy or Nancy, where I didn't want a spot where I'd be like, okay, I'm having a problem with this camera and I'm just going to pick on you, Aaron. Aaron come and go, well, get rid of Microsoft's cameras. They're crap. Buy Mac damn. We don't need sales pitches. We need products that work. And sometimes we get what we can in our budget, and we got to make that work. And
Yeah.
being able to have open discussions like that is key. And that's why I think that Slack group is great. And that's all I'm going to talk about that there.
no, well, that's about the community. That's so
Yep.
that ties in perfectly. So I'm
Great that you guys are so willing to share that too. I mean, even though you don't work for the same company,
Mhm.
but what I'm experiencing in this lab or in this room, and somebody may be able to offer a solution, or somebody may go, hey, maybe don't buy those again, whatever. I mean, I think it's great that you've got a
Yeah.
platform to share that information.
Yeah, we all help each other. I mean, last week when I was at work, we had a ticket in the system that we were having buzz in Zoom. That's hard to troubleshoot by yourself.
Yeah.
So it was nice to be able to, I just threw in the Slack group, go, hey guys, I need to test out Zoom. Who can jump on? They jumped on. We figured out where the buzz was coming out and left. Today, Donovan Monday, he was testing out a couple cameras. He's like, "Hey guys, it's open. Jump on if you want to see how these work." And I did jump on. He had some good cameras going on there. So being able to have that community to freely share is definitely great.
He didn't get hacked by China, did he? Was that one of them?
Yes, that was one
That
of
was
them.
one of them.
Oh my gosh.
So let me give a little story. There is it was shared in the Slack group of a company that had this really nice small little camera. I mean, if you stand a dollar bill up, it's probably the half of that height. So it's a nice little small camera. It's USB. It has AI. So if you move around, it follows you. And it got posted in the group because it's pretty cheap for what you get. And everyone was about it. And then comes me, the joy kill. And I looked at it and I'm like, there's red flags here. And
Mhm.
I looked at the site and the company's completely 100% Chinese company. I know from my history of dealing with CCTV systems that a lot of the cheap stuff that comes out of China have backdoors into them. So I mentioned that. Well, Joe is one of the people who got it. He mentioned, and I thought he was joking at first, but he mentioned he got a little bit after setting up an email from a Chinese LED manufacturer. Talking to Donovan today, it sounds like everyone he talks with this thing all got an email from a Chinese manufacturer.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
So
that
he did.
might be the end of that. I'm not going to order one of
Yeah.
those.
He did mention that his security guy was going to run a pen test on it to see if it was communicating. It could be very easy that I believe it sounds like there's software that you have to go and download. So
Mhm.
maybe downloading that software froze you into their database, all legit. So
Yeah.
there is that legitimate that could be that.
Well,
I
But there's a
think that
potential
Donovan-
for issues.
yeah, and
That's
there's
the
also
problem.
and also there's the possibility that you go to like an Infocom or an EduCause or something like that, you get your badge scanned by somebody, they have your email address, and there's easily what, like 100 different Chinese LED companies that
Oh,
are
yeah,
out there
there's-
right now. So
Yeah,
they
there's
buy a
nothing
list
to
from
get-
somebody. So there's
Yeah.
other things that, yes, but I think doing the testing that your guy's
Yeah.
gonna do, James, will really determine like where
Well,
it is. Could just be a lot of
yeah,
coincidence.
my guy's not
so-
doing Donovan's.
Oh,
Donovan's
got sorry,
doing-
Donovan's guy's doing the,
Yeah.
the test. Sorry.
Yeah, but
One of
no,
my-
it does.
Uh,
Go ahead.
I was
Aaron.
gonna
Sorry,
say
go
one of
ahead,
my one of my favorite things about specifically working at Mechdyne is I have never been told from higher up management to use one vendor over another, or at least I will get asked, why did you want to use NEC versus Sharp? And we are completely we are completely vendor agnostic. And if a client comes to me and says, I want to use an AMX control system, I go, okay, that's great. We'll put the controller be AMX. I want to use Crestron. Okay, that's our standard. Like, I've been in a lot of these RFP meetings that one of the first questions out of a lot of integrators' mouth is, hey, can we swap all your stuff that you've just spec'd out? And it's like, most of the time, no. There's a reason that the client is requesting stuff.
Well, yeah, a lot of us have standards, and that's why
Absolutely.
we want. That's why we want. That's what we want. That's why we want what we want. So I don't know
Mhm.
why I couldn't get that out, but yeah, I mean, I've had similar situations. I mean, I know, we're not blind to the fact that, there are some deals that you get better from other manufacturers than others, but and again, this is the higher ed discussion that we've had over multiple occasions, is that I feel like integrators should understand that if they're working with higher ed, that there's a certain level of percentage of money that you're probably going to make off of us, and that you can't just go at us like you go at one of your corporate, people. Like, we don't, some of us have the money, like Joe Way, and and then, and I could say that because he's not here. So, and then there's others, like, you know, other groups that I've worked with that don't have the money, like, you know, and then they're being very particular about what they're using, and I know that's something that we're working on with HETMA, and so it's
And
so yeah.
it's the same with corporate clients too, especially like you talked about standards. Like there's a lot of corporate companies that say we've standardized on all NEC displays in all of our conference rooms. That's just what they want. They want standard look and feel in all their conference rooms. And and that's one of the things that I like about being in an integrator spot, because you're not just pigeonholed and only looking at higher ed. It's kind of about looking at the whole package and what do corporate clients need, what do government clients need, what type of security things are required when you're dealing with different ones. Because let me just tell you that higher ed's networking security is way different than a lot of government ones. So,
well, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had that was our discussion just a couple weeks ago. So yeah.
Yeah. And if I know this comes out on Monday, so you still got time to register for the HETMA. And on Wednesday, there will be a security session.
Joe Way would be so proud of you guys for all the plugs.
Wait, and Joe Way has a book.
No. Oh, I was trying to avoid it.
Like,
all right. Well, it's called Producing Worship. Go find it on Amazon or Walmart.
It's very dense. It's very, very dense. I started reading it on my planes the past couple weeks.
Oh, well, there you go. So it's so yeah, you too could be an owner of Joe. And also Murphy. Go ahead, Murphy.
Murphy, yes.
If you want a lighter book, you can find The Parable of Miriam the Camel Driver.
And give them a little plug about that so they understand what that is.
Yeah, that's a book that I wrote and published. It is a novel and it is not dense, but it is a piece of fiction based on my experience as an AV professional doing conferencing. And it's talking about balancing your career ambitions and creativity.
All right. So yeah, and you can find that on Amazon as well.
Yeah.
Dave, you're very quiet.
So I will be re-releasing.
We're a loud group.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
sorry for talking over you there, David.
No, that's okay. I mean, I'm learning from you guys, right? This is a perfect example of, like, you know, you guys are talking about your experience with higher ed and, you know, the industry, and these are things that I have experienced a little bit, but still kind of new to. So it's nice to hear from a different perspective than just, you know, because when you're a manufacturer, right, everything is through the eyes of your product that you sell sometimes. So it's nice to kind of branch out and hear from other people or opinions and like ideas that I don't usually hear unless I'm like talking to a specific customer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like that. That's cool. Yeah. I'm also a little nervous because, you know, I'm more of an in-person guy and not an on-camera guy. So, you know, it's a little different vibe for me.
Well, this is actually a good transition then, because the big news that came out today on Thursday was that InfoComm has been pushed back until October. So David, so I mean, have you ever been to InfoComm as in any of your previous experience?
So I have a funny story about this because I have not. So last year I was at NEC and I worked on the channel team, but I also worked on the cinema team. So last year, InfoComm and CinemaCon were both going to be in Vegas. So I was going to go to CinemaCon last year, and then they were pretty much like, you know, a block away from each other, right? So I could go from one show and hop to the other and back and forth. So that was my plan. I even bought like a big giant suitcase for the 1 week trip, right? You know, at Walmart, nice deal.
Yep.
You know, 2 weeks before the event, right? They canceled, you know, well, they had canceled InfoComm before, and I'm like, okay, well, CinemaCon might still happen. They canceled CinemaCon. And then at my current company now with Hypervision, we're actually planning on having like a big booth and big presence at InfoComm, but you know, now it's being delayed to October. So I'm like, but the silver lining is that my birthday is October 30th, and InfoComm is the last week of October. So it'll be a nice little birthday present if it doesn't get moved back or is virtual.
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I'm
You know,
I'm
Okay.
hopeful.
I'm
but go ahead,
optimistic. Though.
Murphy.
I think it's going to happen. So.
We had some people on from Control 4, right?
hmm
Okay. So I want to actually, since we're talking about Infocom and David's new exciting, I actually want to hear a little bit about your 3D what? Your actual product that the
Yeah.
company, I want to hear a little more about that because that sounds really sexy.
Thanks.
Can you tell us a little bit? What's
Well, yeah, it's cool. Who knows? Maybe I'll be the next AV rock star and we can do a segment. I'm just kidding.
maybe.
Yeah.
No,
What
it's
about the technology?
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. So, I don't just not to do like a shameless plug or anything, but
They're allowed.
so the company's called Hypervision. They're based out of the UK, and what the technology is, it's a
So the
it's
technology
basically
has a
like
British accent?
no, I've been working on mine, but it's not very good, so I won't try it on the pod. So the technology is a fan, and the fan has LED lights on the fan blades, and as the fan spins, there's also magnets and different technology built into the fan and the stator and the rotor as well. But as the fan spins, it creates an image with 3D lights, right? And it's it's 3D, but if you're being very technical and you know your 3D technology, really it's 3D on a 2D plane, right? Because it's a 3D image when you look at it and it has the visual look. But let's say you walk behind the fan or to the side of it, it's a flat plane because behind the fan blades,
Not
there's no
quite,
image. Right. It's not quite.
not
Optical
quite help me
illusion.
Obi-Wan Kenobi yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Princess
So,
Leia.
yeah, there are some companies that are getting close to that, and that there's it's a different type of technology that's like holographic telepresence. If you're interested in that, Art Media, ARHT, they're out of Canada, and then a company called Portal, PORTL, and they're in California, and they do like kind of like that Obi-Wan thing, but it's all virtual, like through Zoom.
Okay, so
So yeah,
your
sorry.
UK thing, your British tech, um, what's the recommended use for this? Is this for um digital signage, or is this actual it's not for two-way conversations, right?
No, it's more for like pre-recorded content.
Mhm.
So like one thing we're really seeing it for, and it's still a developing technology, right? So we're still kind of paving the way for it in the market and where it fits with everything. But really, it's for advertising signage. We've seen a lot of success for it. Informational, directional signage. Like, let's say you have a 3D image above a bathroom that says "Wash your hands," or 3D signage that says "Boardroom to the left, bathroom to the right." Things like that. Cool logo designs, short videos, so that kind of thing. It could have a lot of good applications, a lot of verticals, but one of the challenges with it, right, is kind of like what we've been talking about. The product by itself very cool, but the question is how well does it integrate with other existing systems that people have, like Crestron and AMX. So that's kind of where we're at with it. But it's one of those things where if you see it, it's really super cool. If you see it on Zoom, it doesn't have that same magic to it. So
And
that,
it's
Well,
one of
so we
those
need.
it's
Oh,
one of those products, I think, from looking at your site, that you have to have the right content to sell the product. There's a few other products like there that are similar to that if your content sucks, the product is not going to move.
yeah, it's a very
So
visual product, and that's what makes it so interesting selling it now, because right, everything's virtual. Some places are starting to get in person, but not quite there yet. And like a show like Infocom is a perfect place to put something like a giant wall of that visual content up. And that's kind of the challenge where it's like, well, how do you showcase something like that
David,
without being able to see it in person, right?
how big can it get? Like I'm imagining like a person. Is it person size? Is it small? Does it can go really large? 50-foot man? What?
Yeah. So the basic product is a 22-inch image.
Okay.
So there's the small fan, which is a 22-inch image, and then the larger one which is the 30-inch image. You could scale it to a wall, and what you would do is you would have separate fan blades next to each other, and then you would scale it kind of like in a way
Like a
sort of like a video wall.
of fans, yeah.
Yeah, but it's limited content, right? Because with the video wall, you could have a live security feed and an IP feed, but this would be like one large giant visual image. So it's all pre-recorded content or like custom made like design agency content or like through a 3D agency.
That sounds like something that should be in like a
Yeah.
car.
It's pretty unique technology for sure.
So how easy is it to change the content then? Or is that a whole like redesign of it?
Well, that's one of the big things we're working on. We made a lot of strides with it. So there's a 3D content studio where it's like any other 3D content studio that's out on the market where you can change like the depth and the colors and like the rotation of the image. But I don't know if any of you guys are like gamers. The 3D technology that it uses is Unreal Engine, Unity.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
kind of that software. So it's
Nice.
pretty, I guess, user friendly as far as the software goes. It's kind of like it's new technology, so the onboarding and getting to learn it. But the 3D Studio is a newer thing that we've had for like 4 or 5 months, and it's pretty easy after the initial usage of it. But it takes a while to use it. I've shown it to a couple customers, and it's kind like I said, very visual because like explaining it here, you can kind of get it, but when you have it in front of you in the CMS, it's kind of a different experience.
So is this a new product? Is this a new position that you're in for here for the US?
Yeah, so I joined in November. So
Okay.
it was an exciting opportunity, and I just thought, I had been in NEC for 5 years, and I really enjoyed my time there, but just kind of felt like it was a really exciting technology, and I was like, maybe 2020, everything's different. Maybe it's time to take a
Yeah.
risk, which
Mhm.
some people would say it's the opposite. It's time not to. But,
So are
but
you setting up channels here then?
yeah, so we're working on that. That's kind of one of the biggest challenges I've learned coming into this job. Coming from NEC, big company structure, very strong ties with different products. This is like a startup, a new product where you have to kind of troubleshoot and you have to figure out, well, will this work in an existing well, I'll use higher ed since that's kind of what we're talking about, but will this work in a classroom when they're already running security feeds and microphones and projectors, and can that run all on the same system? And those are some of the challenges that come with
No,
I
it's
don't
not,
integrating a
it's
new
not
product
challenges,
like that.
it's excitement though. It's the excitement.
Opportunities.
It's the opportunities because I worked out of Toronto, and we were actually the company I worked for was an integrator. They were like the largest picture tail dealer across Canada, but they were also a Crestron and AMX dealer. But they came out with, far beyond their time, of this GUI C++ based room control system. No programming. It was just you select the drivers, of what products you have, your projectors and everything. And you had this real simple GUI. I came on as a US sales manager because I came out of the computer industry, and I had the whole US. So you can imagine me trying to go up with this room control system against the Crestrons and the AMXs,
Right.
integrators. But you know what? I didn't let it get me down. I didn't look at it as a wall. I looked at it as, wow, this is going to be a fun challenge. And to be able to take some of the business from those companies.
Like
So-
nowhere to go but up, right? Nowhere to go but positive.
You got it. You got it. So that's wonderful, David. It's
Yeah.
exciting.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
good. It's gonna be.
And I mean, it's like 2020, right? So many changes have happened. It's like
Yeah.
what's one more change in the world? You know what I mean?
And
So
that's the creative
fault.
juices that allows you is, how do I position the product? What applications are there? What type of markets? And you run with it. And that's why I get on Twitter, because you will
There we
meet
go.
many people.
Yep.
I don't necessarily see this thing being necessarily used as much in the classroom, but
Right.
maybe as like a showcase piece of a building, like a
Mhm.
lobby of an entryway of a building. to maybe showcase like the case study of what's going on in the building, or whether there's like different research going on, showcase some of that, or maybe you've got a design college that has to do certain projects for that, maybe
Mhm.
showcase some of that, maybe like an art installation.
Yeah, this is
So
I'm seeing
I just don't
I'm
see it
seeing
as a
this
everyday thing, but
not
yeah,
as a
cool.
not in this current state. I agree with you, Aaron, but I think they're on the track to make what that next immersive experience is going to be like in a classroom setting. I think you guys are on the way for that.
Yeah.
So
but
I really hope
also
that
the
we
one
are-
thing, oh, go ahead, Renee.
I really hope we're in person at InfoComm, because I think that would be the kind of product
And
that
I agree with that.
even from afar, the wow factor, and that's what InfoComm's about, right? Or I see it's that wow factor of what's new and latest and greatest normally anyway. Sorry, James.
No, that's all right. All I was gonna say is the one saying I'm with Aaron and Tim. I right now I can't sit here and say, oh yeah, this would be a great product for higher ed. But the one thing I do know about higher ed, we like to tinker. We like our
Yes.
new toys. We will throw things into an environment and break it and push it and throw new things at it.
Mhm.
So if you could get into higher ed, that's where your product probably could really take off. Like I said, I don't know any application that I would use it, or I don't, or Tim, but I mean, that's a good market to get into, because I mean, 3D printers, they took off in higher ed.
Mhm.
Like a lot of these things do come out in higher ed because they have kids who are going to play with them, and they'll find ways to use them.
So yeah, don't be
Visualization lab.
Yeah, work. Yeah, work. Yeah, if there's a piece of advice that we've said on the show before, and we say to the manufacturers, is just, work with us on this. Like it's be open to the opportunity that we're going to think of something else to do with it. So you may have something in mind, but we're going to be the ones that are going to come in and go, yeah, but you could do this with it too, and help us help you so we can achieve our goals. And so there's your nugget.
Yeah, that makes me think
Yeah.
of Jerry Maguire. Help me
Help
you.
you.
I love
Yes,
you.
yes.
Yep.
No, but I agree with you, Tim. I think there should be end user groups. I think more manufacturers should be doing that, of using you as focus groups to be able to play with the product and, either, like you said, break it or find other ways that you would use it. And that's been something for years that manufacturers, they just don't get it.
Yeah, because like we as technical people in higher ed, we know how to break things, but then when we bring it to our professors, they find a whole nother level of how to break things. So there's
an educated breaking things, and there's a complete ignorant breaking of things, and they really are different.
yes.
Yes. I love
So
it.
if you want to
And
really
you just
find
have
out,
students who the break things just to break things.
I'll be considering you guys. I'm telling you.
there you go.
I will.
Thank you. That's
how
my
would-
plug. That's my plug for the
That
day.
would
Well,
be
that was
lovely.
perfect.
Got it out of the way.
Good.
Yeah.
That would be so much fun if we could, maybe the higher ed community, y'all, could come and say, when we're allowed to breathe one another's air, get some higher ed people say, we have spare room. Come down and hang. Yeah. Come and hang with us. And we could connect, like have a big group video one. And we could get like a bunch of different places where the locals of that community could come down and just like hang and say, hey, what toys have you got? What are you doing? And then someone could come on the video and be like, here's what I've got. You got any questions? And then there could also be people in the room too. And it would be like a convention conference local group, but everywhere.
Sounds
God,
like
don't you
a
guys just
Great
miss
video.
that? Like being in person and being able to have
Well,
those
that's-
types of like
Killing me.
experiences.
Well, and
with people.
that's a perfect
Segue.
segue. Yeah. So
Sorry,
I mean,
I'm not trying to,
no,
MC
this is
for you
perfect.
here,
You're
No, no,
but-
doing,
No.
you're natural.
You're good,
You're
Dave.
doing great. So I mean, so are we hopeful for October? Do we think October is a good? I mean, we're talking like a solid 8 months from now.
Well, we got to set a goal at some point, right? To look towards it. So,
Lord, please let it happen.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel
but
better.
why couldn't it have been Vegas? Why did it have to be Orlando?
That's
because
the
the throw
Yeah,
off
I
the
think you have a
rotation.
better chance in Florida than Vegas. But
Florida's basically
I-
open for business anyhow, so they really don't care down there.
last time we talked about this, I know Tim and Joe and others were very optimists about September and everything was ramping up. And I wasn't. I think I feel better about October. Personally, with that said, I don't know if the travel budget or permission from like my university is going to be there.
Mhm.
Because again, I go back to we need to do what's fiscal responsible for the college, and how can the college say, okay, yeah, James, we'll send you down to Florida for this conference, but Renee, I'm sorry, we can't keep you on staff anymore. Like that,
Right.
that's not fair. And I wouldn't want that. So again, you definitely got to keep the finances in mind. And I know there are people who might, flip their own bill and go down. So I don't think I will do that, but I don't know yet. And I
Mhm.
feel more confident about October than I do September or
Yeah.
even when it was June.
Yeah. And then James, let's look at this. So do we think that with Infocom, it would be on site, but are they also going to have it where it's online?
Like a hybrid.
I think they
I
have
don't
to have
think
some.
we're losing.
They have to.
I don't think you're going to lose that online feature from anything. I think higher ed,
One time.
every conference, any kind of thing, you're going to have some kind of virtual element to it. What it is now, I don't know if that's going to say, but it's not going to be 100% in person, no online. I think you're going to have an online element to
Yeah,
it.
I don't think we're ever going to go back to
Yeah.
a solid physical trade show. I think people I think the lessons have been learned that you need to have that component, that it works, and that there are people that will do it, that there are, especially now that, at least for the next couple of years until we know that we've eradicated this virus, there's going to be that. And then it's just a whole new way of doing business, that it's either you do it or you get left behind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think what you're going to see is you're going to see types of people. As we talked about here, we said today is we're all about community. We want that interaction. I mean, even look at right now the virtual events going around, and with the AV Nation TV Awards, and you had HEPMA and the AV Nation one up there as the best virtual events. Both events were great. Both events were very niche. HEPMA was more niche than the AV Nation one. But you know what was great? What really stood out with those two? The chat. The chats went off. The community being able to interact. Those events where there was no interaction, they didn't even get nominated. I mean, you can have big ones up there and they never got nominated. So I think you're going to have that with these in-person and virtual events. Is like you're going to have someone who all they care about is education. They want to get their education, their RUs. They're going to jump on a remote session and watch it. And you're going to have people who, like Joe was saying, when he ran back with Frank from Las Vegas, where he gave him a hug, and Gina, who can't wait to hug everybody.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Ew, I'm a hugger. Canadians are huggers.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
I
yeah.
got regular appointments that somebody I see like once a month. I mean, back in the day,
Yeah.
like, I walk in and I hug people. That's just what I do. It's going to be really hard.
I think we all do.
Yeah,
So-
so like I said, you're going to have that range of those people who want to be physically there and physical touching it, or they're going to find a way to get there. And there's
Mhm.
people who are there just to get those RUs and get the education. They're going to jump on the virtual. They're going to bang
Yeah.
it out, and they're going to get what they need from it.
Mhm.
Well,
So
there's different
speaking of,
levels of people's anxiety with this virus too, and there's some that are
Yeah.
super strict, and there's some that are a lot less strict, and there's some that feel like once they get that, once they get their shots, then they're good to go. So, I mean, I think that'll be a huge part. How quickly are they going to be able to get these vaccines out, and how, I mean, because right now
Well,
right now in
Okay.
Missouri.
Well,
it's
they gotta
older
work
folks.
on that.
Yeah.
The vaccine
saying,
rollout
but if
is
we
horrible.
get there by then, who knows what we're going to be like? Then will people have a different attitude? Because it takes a lot of time to plan these events. You can't just say like, well, in September, I might go in October. Like
But-
you have to plan it.
And you're right, Renee, because as a manufacturer, there's so much more that goes into it because we have to do the booth layout. We have to decide on what products that we're going to show, get the, you know,
You need David's
Doc-
thing. You need his
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
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 That'll help.
So it's different from an attendee if you're looking from the manufacturer side, because
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, you need a good year to plan it out.
Well, and look at like somebody
It's
like
a project. Yeah.
So-
It is. It's a
up
project.
front. So NEC is one of the high dollar upfront, high dollar ticket booth, right?
Mhm.
So can they do that this year with all the layoffs and the mergers? And, it's like, can you still afford to do that? Or do you move to the
Well-
back or how
And do you think we're
decide?
gonna? Do you think we're gonna see like Panasonic come back? Do you think they're gonna? Or now that they're out, are they out? Like, do you think now that with 8 more months to say, okay, maybe,
That's a good one there, Tim.
like,
I
will
didn't think
Avixa
of
let
that.
them back? Like, I mean,
I
we were
think
talking a
Avixa
little bit
has
about
to
it
let
before.
them back.
Yeah.
I'm sure they haven't
I mean,
sold
they
that
wanted-
lot.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But I would say that there's got to be some sort of, once there was a rescheduling, I would think there would be some sort of
Another
grace
offer.
with the contracts, a revision.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they took that 25% hit by pulling out of ISE. So who knows?
Yeah.
Right. So it's gonna be interesting. And so we were talking about the physical touch, and usually we roll right into the firing range. But I think I like this conversation going. But do we think that is the art of the handshake gone? Like, are we fist bumps and Wakanda forever? Like now, like is that what's gonna end up happening? Like,
I
You
think
forgot the elbow one. The elbow.
on the elbow,
bump.
on the elbow bump. Yeah, sorry.
because that's what they said at
I
ISE,
think-
and then we ended up hugging one another for.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think
because-
it's all on your personality because I even noticed like myself as I'm a very approachable person,
Mhm.
and we were on the soccer field. I would walk up to a visiting team's coach, and the first thing I would do is put my hand out and shake, and then I'm like, wait, no, I can't be doing that. Like it just my
Yeah.
muscles, and that's what you do. That's a custom. And
I've still
I think
been
our
shaking
kids,
people's hands.
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to get out of that, but I think the people who are going to be out of it are the younger generation who are not so accustomed to it, and they're
Mhm.
just going to be used to the fist bumps or the high five or the hand up in the air type deal.
The airwave is.
Yeah, there we
Star Trek, live long and
The vice
prosper.
there you go.
Um,
Yeah, why we haven't had a COVID one come out?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Create one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta the
Yeah.
create.
And that's a really good
Where's
question. though.
Luxie when you need her?
Because
That
I know
is-
there's
I'm just gonna
probably a
wear
lot
rubber
of older
gloves. I'm just
No.
gonna
We're
wear
all gonna
rubber
wear
gloves
Bernie
and
mittens.
shake people's
Bernie
hands.
mittens for everybody.
Bernie Mac.
Right.
Because I look at some of the contacts that I have, and I know that they've been careful in that, and if I've been careful, I probably still would, because I'm a hugger, especially with
This
those very,
time-
very close
This time
contacts.
next year, it will have sorted. If
Yeah.
you hug somebody and you both have your mouths going the other direction, it's still,
Just everyone hold their breath on every hug. Just don't breathe out.
does-
Everybody
Everybody
turn
wear
to
a
the
button that
left.
says I've been
Yeah.
vaccinated.
I think, yeah.
Has
Well-
anybody here had a vaccination?
No.
Not yet.
I have not. I've had a couple friends who have, because they work in the health industry and
Mhm.
they're like K-12 education.
Yep.
It's like a shot. It's like the cold. There was one person who had flu-like symptoms, like advanced flu-like symptoms, like COVID, but didn't hear much after that. So, my mom actually, she works at Montana State University, right? And they're this is a separate convo, but it's really interesting what they're doing there because Montana's a smaller state, less vaccinations, right? And they're a little stricter with the distribution. But they're talking about how they're rolling it out and who's going to get it and when they're going to get it, and it's kind of unique how that's going too.
Well, I mean, I think we're like many states where we are scrambling to wonder when are we going to get enough? We
Mhm.
have all the sites set up and all the prep is ready to go. It's a matter of actually getting there. But tonight on the news, they made an interesting comment about South Dakota is number 5 in the country, rated number 5th, that they've got like 70 something percent of their people vaccinated. And like
Yeah.
Iowa was like 30,
That-
Kansas
that's,
was like
that's
40.
South Dakota. So do they
Yeah.
have, like,
so-
they have that thing. I think it's South Dakota where the motorcycles and they just go by, shoot them and they.
Really?
You think
Uh.
they're giving the vaccinations at Sturgis? Is that what
There
you're
does
Yes,
Drive-
yes, they
drive
already
bike
have
through.
open the vests and they, yeah, yeah.
They go into Wall Drug and they set up a special
There you go.
tent for that over at Wall
My-
Drug.
Well, we're the same thing here in New Jersey. We have the sites, everything's ready. We're waiting on the vaccine, is what it is.
So
I think we have what 800,000. I think James. I think that was the last thing that I think I saw from the governor out of
something like that.
9
My
million
thing
that we
is-
need.
Yeah. The one thing, my thing is, and I'm trying not to go this way. I'm trying to say as neutral as I can say here, but like I feel we need people like Murphy to be a PM minute and handle this and take it out of the hands of other people, because I feel it's not being done right. It's being done to gain certain ways. And I feel like a good PM, someone like Murphy, could roll this out and we could be done.
We need that guy. Okay,
'cause-
remember Apollo 13, the guy
Mhm.
who changed his vest, and they're like,
Yeah.
okay, we need to save the people, and here's the bunch of stuff, make the air go from
Gene?
here to here. Yeah, Gene Kranz, I think he's my
Mhm.
guy. He is my hero guy. We need that guy to be mission control.
Hmm.
That guy handling vaccine control, roll it out, line them up, get all the nerds in the pocket vest and the glasses and just the white shirt. Do it. All the doctors do it.
As long as they have a slide ruler, then it's okay.
And James, I totally hear you. I thought that the second I heard that they were so excited. We have a vaccine, like, and they're like, it's gonna have to go out at 0 Kelvin to work, and it's so cold. I'm like, oh my God, that is a huge bunch of just transporting it, making it great. Thanks for making it. Now we have to get it from here to there and not let it get warm anywhere along the way. I was talking to a friend, like, wasn't there just an enormous bunch of snow dumped on the East Coast? I'm
Mhm.
thinking, great. What if a vaccine truck got stuck?
Well-
Hey, it's cold, but it's not that cold.
I saw a
That
story.
did happen.
It actually did happen, and they ended up giving out the vaccine to people that were also stuck in the same
They're like,
storm.
Good.
yeah, yes.
So it still
good.
made it into people's arms, but yeah, it didn't get to where it was supposed to go.
And then there are the tightly wound people of the world who there was somebody here in California, which is, I believe, number 50th of all the states in the vaccine distribution, who they said, oh, the governor said you can get a vaccine if you're over 65. And he signed up and got an appointment and went to the spot. And he goes, I got an appointment. They're like, no, that's not how you do it. And he goes, but the governor said, and he couldn't back up. They had a one-way ramp, basically, and he couldn't. So he went through, and he's like, I have an appointment. Here it is. And the person, like the boss of the vaccine givers, was like, okay, fine, give it to him. And there was another woman there who was like, absolutely not. No line jumping. And I'm going to call the police.
Oh my,
Wow.
this virus has turned us into a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't blame the virus. I blame other things.
Yeah, I blame being
But-
inside 365 days a year. That might
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah,
up
that's
and-
right.
and energy.
But yeah,
But a good project
This-
manager could help. Definitely.
yes, a good. I mean, you look at Tim. I think. I mean, I haven't followed along with the numbers in New Jersey, but I remember when they first started rolling out the vaccine, they had. I think it was like. And again, I could be wrong on the numbers, but let's say they had like 500,000 vaccines, and then we're vaccinating 1,000 people a day. Like, why? And then there's we're short on vaccines. I don't know about you, but 5,000 vaccines and you're only doing 1,000 a day. Like, come on, that's going to take you a long
Yeah.
time to get to 500,000. Like,
Yeah, and we're not using the mega sites yet, or we are, but we're not. Like it's, and now
Yeah.
they're talking about rolling out to like pharmacies and stuff like that too, and try to get it out as much as possible.
I mean, what I said, and maybe I don't know, take it out of the hand of the pharmacies. You know who put it in? Put it in FEMA, the National Guards. They're designed to do mass rollouts. They know how to handle the logistics. They can handle this logistic. And I think they're trying to handle too much of the health insurance.
Mhm.
Get rid of that. Just,
I
like Murphy say, line up and poke them.
Yeah, line
Yeah.
them up, stab them.
Yeah, stab and go, stab and go, stab.
Stab and go.
Yeah. I'm thinking I don't think that's where the choke point is. I think the choke point is the there's regulations. So they're like, this is the precious gold, the vaccine gold, and we have to give it to these different people and different to these entities. And there's like the entity, and then the entity has it, and then there is a file box full of paperwork that whoever wants to be the one to distribute it has to fill out and do. And they're like, right. So like, how do they do that? And I got, there's a lot of noise about it here in California. So, you know, I was like, well, once they get it and then distribute it, and then the other choke point is, who are they allowed to give it to? That's not clear either. There's not a clear scope. And it changes. Well, we have purple 2.5.
Not a clear scope of work.
Oh,
What?
yeah.
She used the magic word. Scope.
Scope. Spoken like a true project manager.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
like-
I'm going to handshake whoever wants to shake my hand and hug whoever wants to hug me. I mean, I'm just over this. I'm just over it, and I miss everybody. And you know, it'll be interesting to see, because like my company, their two big shows are NEB and Infocom,
Mm.
and now those are like a week apart.
Mhm.
Are we
I'll
all
see you
gonna go
there,
to-
Renee.
Well, I don't know. Like, are they going to split us up? And some go, I mean, I don't, what's going to happen? And, you know, who can afford to do now 2 shows back to back within the same few weeks? So it's so up in the air.
But you know what? It might be cheaper if you get like a B&B or something. And you can still work from there and be able to attend and participate in Infocom.
Hey, if they want to send me to Orlando and just let me hang out for.
Oh, that's
3
right. Orlando, Vegas.
It's Orlando, yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine. But my vote is I'm going to be as involved as I can be. And that means shaking your hand and hugging you, and if you're comfortable. So
Mhm.
I will be your first
We're gonna-
hugger.
That's gonna be actually, you know who's gonna what needs to be made is for your name badge to have like okay with hugs.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
well,
I
actually
have
I was gonna
people
say something really bad
Magic
though.
hug consent. Hug
That's a
Hugger,
good
elbow.
So
Maybe-
whoever of the manufacturers, if you can come up with like a some sort of banner.
Well,
for
you
the
don't have
badge.
you have a no hugs with a slash through it,
Yeah,
right?
no hugs.
Maybe
No
you-
touch.
Maybe
Can't touch
you
us.
get it's a red if you're not okay with any sort of touching. It's yellow if it's close handshake, and then green for full hug.
Yeah.
Kinda.
The
Full
proximity
contact.
sensor-
Yeah.
proximity sensor that an alarm goes off when a person gets within a foot.
Yeah.
You're in my bubble.
Well, it was really weird at ISC because you had people, especially from Asia. I'm telling you, they had the full-on gear, mask gear. Did you see that, Renee? Were you there?
I was not there, but
Oh, at ISC? Oh, yeah, they had like the full gear on. Some of them walking around the show.
yeah, I
You
was
seen that
following up
goofy thing? Like they've got like a fish tank on your head with like a scarf going down the back.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we need that. The new PPE.
The new
You know
PP.
what I said? I said that lipstick manufacturers probably have their sales have significantly gone down because you can't wear lipstick with a mask.
Especially since
I
my
didn't even
lipstick
think
is
about
from
that.
Zoom. My lipstick
Yeah.
right now is via Zoom, so
Yeah.
I don't have to buy any. It's just right there. Thank you, Kim Frank.
So, all right. Well, yeah, we'll have to. Well, I guess it'll be wait and see what we end up with in October. So, yeah, I think we'll wrap it up here. I think that was a great way to end it. So, yeah, I guess to the lipstick manufacturers out there, just wait. Your time will come, or find a real smudge proof lipstick. I guess. I don't know. Mask proof. There you go.
Stop
Mask
talking,
proof
kid, you don't
lipstick.
know.
What was that, Murphy?
I said, stop talking. You don't know about this.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm talking
I
about.
know.
So yeah, I was gonna say, please, somebody stop me.
Yeah.
It's okay. You don't have to know.
Come on, Tim, go put the virtual effects on. You can have some.
No. I did theater. I did theater long enough. I did
Oh.
my own makeup. I'm good for right now. So I don't need it on a Zoom call. But I'd like to thank our guests, Aaron and David and Lex. She had to drop off, but to our AV rock star Lex, and you know what, David, you are a rock star as well, and so are you, Aaron. You guys, thank you for joining us here tonight. David, Aaron, let people know where if you want to be found, where they could find you. David, I'm going to start with you.
Sure. Well, maybe soon to be on Twitter. I'll look into it.
And
But
we'll get you in the tweet storm, and that'll
Yes.
really put you
Oh,
over the
boy.
top.
God.
So
all right, I might go in the opposite direction where I didn't use it at all to using it every day, like 24 hours a day.
there you go.
But
Yep.
yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, David Pequeño. There aren't a lot of David Pequeños out there, so not too crazy. And then check out Hypervision, Hyper VSN. That's the company I work at. And if you're interested, just I would say reach out to me on LinkedIn or d.pequeño@hypervision.com. But also, check out not just my stuff, but the other 3D manufacturers that are out there, because there's some really cool stuff that's coming into the market. Art Media and Portal are really unique. There's a company called PTC that's in Boston that does like commercial 3D. So I think, there's going to be some more 3D type of companies that in varying degrees are coming out, and it'll really bring some new stuff into the industry, I think. So, but otherwise, if InfoComm happens in October, I'll see you guys in October too. So.
Sounds great. And Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, you can find me at @_AVAP on Twitter. If you want to send me an email, it's aaron.peterson@mechdyne.com, MECHDYNE. And of course, if you're interested in our company, just go to www.mechdyne.com.
All right. Well, thank you both for joining us. And as always, you can find us on higheredav.com or at the AV Life Pod on Twitter. And crew, thank you as always. It's a wonderful night, and we'll be back in a week, and we will with more fun and excitement, and and we'll keep the love going. So until our next adventure.